Hi friends, welcome to August, and the real estate market is officially slowing down. It's actually kind of startling looking at some of this data, so let's get into it. I'm working on renovating my 63-year-old garden shed, and I'm making a video all about the process. We're in the 80s this week, so it's already involved a whole lot of sweat. I found like 3 dead mice, a bunch of ants, spiders, and I almost stabbed my hand with a rusty nail, so definitely stay tuned for that adventure. People sometimes hear about a slowdown in the real estate market and think, oh, the crash is here, now's the time to buy, which I'm not saying it isn't, but I just want you to temper your expectations a little bit. Median price in the city of Seattle went from $910,000 last month to $875 this month, which sure, it's a 4% decrease. And I think it is a good sign that prices are going to continue to drop a little bit over this winter, but it's definitely not the mythical crash that everyone's talking about or hoping for. I think that prices are just going to come back up in the spring. Houses these days are still selling fast and for over asking, simply because we're just seeing a serious lack of inventory. Although I did just watch this morning a Graham Stephan video about the return to California, and I think that if we start seeing a continued slowdown of hiring in Seattle, that we're going to see a fundamental shift in the real estate market. Last year, something like 40% of my business was helping Californians move to the Seattle area. So it definitely has a big impact on our local real estate market. I've accidentally started 3 different videos this week: a Kirkland neighborhood tour, the video about my shed, and then this month's market update. So I've kind of confused myself and I don't know what I'm doing. But Kendall and I did schedule a couple houses over in Kirkland that we thought looked interesting. So we're going to make a couple TikToks, some YouTube videos, and everything else that we can. Let's go. So here's a nice house near the downtown Kirkland area. This right here is about $2.5 million. There's just tons of new construction going on in Kirkland and in Seattle. Just, buildings up. I don't know if it's costs have come down or just a little bit more flexibility these days because of zoning changes, but here's a pretty nice looking new construction that caught my eye.
First impression, I like this house. It's really livable. The layout is super practical and awesome for entertaining.
Okay, so months of inventory, which is a good, simple metric for supply and demand, is up to 6 weeks. So it takes 6 weeks to sell out of all the available inventory currently. And that has gone up this last month from about a month, and it's been at a month since January when it was back up to like 2 months. So we're starting to see the end of the busy spring, summer. I've been helping a couple who is moving here from New York City, and they've been looking for a place in West Seattle, and it's been very difficult. Everything there is really pretty. There's like these really pretty, $900,000 houses that are getting bid up to about 1.1, 1.2. And part of the reason is because there's just a lack of inventory. There's only like 2 or 3 nice ones that hit the market every week or 2. And there's a big pool of people that want to live in that neighborhood. So everybody's bidding and it just goes kind of out of control. And I understand why this is happening. A lot of people are sitting in these 2% mortgages for the last couple of years, and it's really hard to leave that behind. I was talking to somebody recently who has a house in Wedgwood, and they're thinking about selling and moving up because it's a little bit too small for them now, but they have like a 2.5%, 3% interest rate, and moving into a 7% interest rate is a pretty big adjustment, and it's hard to do that. So they're just sitting tight and waiting until interest rates come down. And I don't blame them. I think that would be a really hard adjustment. The kicker to that, though, is that when interest rates do come down, then we're going to see prices come up as well. So, it's kind of a lose-lose situation, I guess.
That was depressing.
Yeah, I guess so. But look at this pretty house. It's very nice. Okay, so apparently if you spend $2.5 million, you get really nice appliances. I just like all the finishes on these things, and like everything's super heavy, super nice, nicely weighted.
I like this house. It's a big open living area where you can have a bunch of people here, but all doing their own things. Living room, kitchen, dining space. You could have people outside, kind of together, but separate. This is all quite a bit of a risk here, what we're doing. We're trying a new recipe and delivering it to a friend who just had a baby. I mean, trying something new when you're giving it to a friend for the first, I don't know what I'm thinking here. But we're making a gluten-free chicken curry. I think all curry is supposed to be gluten-free, but I made sure that this one was. Here's one thing I'm really skeptical of. Chopped ginger with the skin on is what it said to do.
The most interesting data point I'm seeing this month is supply versus demand. It's kind of difficult to reconcile this one because in the field, most houses are selling in about a week, often multiple offers. Like, I'm putting together an offer for somebody trying to buy a little Rambler in Shoreline, and it's not crazy, but there are going to be a couple offers, and I'm thinking it's going to escalate over asking about maybe 5 to 7%. But here's 1 year of data of listings versus sales in Seattle, and demand is going down. You can see this last month we dropped for the first time all summer, and inventory is staying fairly level. I think it's a bit of high interest rates keeping inventory down to record levels. So you can see we're pretty under what we were this time last year, and people still need housing. So this makes me think that we're going to see prices drop a little bit more in the winter, as is how the real estate cycle usually happens. This is my messy studio space with a little camera set up here. But if you're thinking about making a home in Seattle, send me a message or just stay tuned for more housing and design content from my home in Seattle.